Let's quickly bring on board Arundhati Bhattacharya, Chairman and SBI. Ms. Bhattacharya, firstly, congratulations. You're the only Indian woman to be named in the recently released top 50 most influential people in the world by Bloomberg Markets. What further initiatives are you looking at taking to take SBI to even greater heights?
Regarding further initiatives, many of the initiatives that I have started, those itself have not yet been completed. So I will continue with many of those, and those would pertain to further use of technology. As I said, we really need to do many things on technology in order to unleash the potential that SBI really has. We'll also look at better coordination amongst the various subsidiaries, associates and the parent bank, as well as within SBI, looking at the verticals, much better coordination between those so as to capture the entire value chain in respect of clients where maybe one vertical is doing something, but the rest of the business is not really getting captured. So I think on both of these areas we'll be working quite a bit. Added to this, of course, is the fact that today's world, risk is something that has become very real, and also that is all pervasive. So to that extent, how to better understand, monitor and mitigate risks, that is something that we have to do. And last but not least, we have to change the perception that SBI is the banker of the earlier generation, make it the banker of the current generation. So to that extent, how do I ensure that the kind of service I give, it is something that people will like, and that people will become really the bank of choice for even the newer generations.
But Ms. Bhattacharya, the Reserve Bank of India has tightened the noose on willful defaulters. Though the changes are prospective in nature, how do you think this will help bank going forward? Do you think these new laws will actually reduce NPA and defaulters going forward?
See, anything that makes it a little more difficult for willful defaulters is always a positive for the banks. So to that extent, yes, even when you do it on a prospective basis, it will definitely help. In fact, I do believe that whenever there are any changes in the rules of the game, it should always be on prospective basis. Otherwise, if you do things on retrospective basis, then, it changes the rules of the game. It makes the business environment very uncertain. It is not good for business. Therefore, I think RBI has been extremely correct in doing things on a prospective basis. And as I said, if it adds more weight to the kind of regulations that we have for preventing willful defaults, it is a positive for the banks.
Right, Ms. Bhattacharya, you had mentioned that bankers have requested Finance Ministry to help strengthen the legislation against willful defaulters. What suggestions have you made to help tighten these norms?
Actually, what we have requested is for a law. At this point of time, as you know, it is a regulatory prescription. It is not law, and therefore it doesn't have the force of law behind it. So we believe that we need a proper law, not only in respect of willful default, we also need a proper bankruptcy law. Because without this, it is very difficult for getting a orderly resolution of any kind of loans that have been given to borrowers. And therefore, whether the borrower is an individual or it is a company, as you know, in America also you have, for instance, the Chapter 11 under which you can reorganize, and which is basically a bankruptcy law. So something like that is very much required. So both in respect of the willful defaulters as well as in respect of bankruptcy, I think there is a need not only for regulations but also for laws.
Now, SBI has already sent a willful defaulter notice through KFA, that's Kingfisher Airlines. Are there more accounts that SBI will look at taking aggressively? Are you preparing actions against some other big defaulters? And also, are you looking at taking any strict action like management control, or would you be looking at seizing some assets?
I think we are doing all of these things already. Even before KFA, there have been a number of people who have been declared willful defaulters. We have a grievance redressal committee working for the last so many months, and they meet every week, in fact, in case there is a grievance. So there is a provision for them to meet regularly, and these things are getting done on a regular basis. In respect of things like changing of management, changing of management is not very easy, mainly because there can always be a lot of legal challenges. Even in respect of KFA, as you were talking about it, we are fighting something like 22 cases in that particular instance. So, these things will always face legal challenges. Not only that, even if I bring in a new management, that management would like to have a conducive atmosphere to work in. So, we have to arrange for all of these things. It is not easy. But wherever it is necessary, we are making necessary efforts. I'll not say that for change of management we have yet been successful, but we are trying it out in a few accounts. In respect of sale of non-core assets, this of course has been going on for a long time. A number of non-core assets have been sold. In fact, in some cases, core assets have also been sold, so that they can live to see another day. So all of these things are going on. These are regular activities for us now, and we will continue to maintain our pressure in all of these areas for further resolution of stressed assets.
Ms. Bhattacharya, most banks are finding it difficult to, achieve the 15% credit growth this year. What is the situation at SBI with you? How is retail versus corporate growth as of now?
Retail growth is much better. Corporate growth is very slow. The 15% target seems to be a little far-fetched at this point of time, because growth has been extremely slow, and we don't expect it to pick up before January. So the last quarter of this fiscal year is when we believe that we will see some growth. But till then, growth is going to remain muted. And as a result of that, 15% I think at this point of time is not really a feasible target. However, retail is doing quite well, and we continue to focus on retail.
Despite recent improvements in asset quality, some rating agencies have again raised concerns. What is your outlook on asset quality for SBI?
I believe the accretion rate will come down. Whether there will be an actual fall in the absolute numbers, we have to yet see. Not very easy to give you a prediction at this point of time. But definitely I think the rate of accretion should come down.
Right. Are you also looking at selling bad loans to ARCs this time as well?
Actually, it is not a question of the appetite going down, but it is a question of their means. As you know, they have already taken quite a large amount of assets in the last 2 quarters. So already they were getting a little stretched on their finances, and now they have to make a 15% upfront payment. So to that extent, they definitely need to first be able to fund it themselves. They will take a little time, I think, for ensuring that they have the proper means to do this. So there might be some temporary slowdown in sales to ARCs. But this is an activity that will continue, and I suppose, within a quarter or two we will see them getting back into action again.
Well, there are a number of scams coming to the forefront in PSU banks. What steps are you taking to ensure higher standards of loan appraisal and disposals, and have you tightened the procedures?
Actually speaking, we always had a committee approach. Not only that, in respect of detailed loans, there is also a TAT, that's a turnaround time approach. We have a loan origination system that monitors the TAT. The LOS has been in operation now for about 6-7 months. We also have a loan life management system, an LLMS system, which also has just come into operation. Both of these things are getting stabilized in the system. It will take a little while longer for people to start doing everything on these. Once it is done on these systems, then the system itself will track, what is the time that is being taken, and therefore any undue delays can be immediately flagged and looked at. Similarly, as I said, we have a committee approach, so that it is not possible for a single person to take any kind of a decision. It has to be a decision that has to be taken by all. That also ensures that unnecessary pressures as well as unwanted kind of things don't happen. and that the decision that is taken, it is taken in a considered way. It has the full knowledge of a number of people, and their experience and their expertise is all brought to bear on ensuring that the decision that is being taken is taken in the best interests.
Right, so are you also expecting an improvement in your agri portfolio with monsoons finally picking up?
No, there is positivity because monsoons have revived. As you know, it has been declared at 11% deficient. At 10%, it's considered a normal monsoon. So to that extent, we are seeing better repayment. Even in the state of Hyderabad, we are beginning to see some amount of repayments beginning, because nothing really solid has happened on the ground over there, and the farmers there are people who are wedded to their activity. In fact, they do it very well, and therefore they need the financing. So we are beginning to see a little better traction, though the slippages in the state of Telangana and Andhra remain the highest still. But still we believe that another month or two we will be seeing much better traction in this area.
Ms. Bhattacharya, most banks are facing a problem with large accounts like Haldia Petrochemicals, where the plant has shut down, Dabol account as well. What's the situation at SBI? Is there fear of these two accounts turning NPAs?
There is stress in both of these two accounts. The stress has been there for a number of years now. It is nothing new. But we are trying to ensure that both of these accounts do not turn non-performing. And to that extent, there are several discussions that we are having with all the stakeholders. Hopefully, we will be able to steer them through the stormy waters, but let us see.